So as we go through this today, our topics are going to be a little bit of our history. I know we've done a presentation before a few years ago, so I'd like to show you what we did before as well as what we've done since then. Kind of go through a couple of the key pain points and why we made the decisions that we did. Show you a couple of the business benefits of the portal, followed by some use cases, and those we'll do as a live demo, assuming everything works properly here, and then some key learnings. So a little bit about Columbus McKinnon. Columbus McKinnon's tagline is we create intelligent motion solutions. And what you'll likely see here with the intelligent motion solutions is our historical products here, cranes and hoists, kind of followed by some of our engineered products in linear motion. And then we have some automation, and some of this automation is actually sometimes moved right into these other two pieces. Sometimes it's returned to home, sometimes it's much, much more complex. Following a recent couple of acquisitions where we're doing some specialty conveyance, and that you'll see either an accumulation conveyance here or just some more standard conveyance. But what you'd see, what we call standard, is really kind of a specialty. And that's really what the company is known for, is these intelligent motion solutions. When we last spoke, we were really starting on our journey. We had just started working with CoolShop. CoolShop had developed an interface that laid on top of the Configit platform, and you'll see a little bit of our architecture here in just a moment. And what we were really trying to do is, we wanted our customers to have a slightly better interface. We wanted our customers to see a little bit more graphically what they were choosing. And so at that point in time, we really had the C and the Q here, right? We were only doing quoting. We weren't doing any ordering. We certainly did some pricing, all right, but we didn't do any pricing for non-configured units. So even some of our non-configured products were being done, we kind of shoehorned them into a KMAT inside of SAP. What we were trying to do is get our customers to be able to take a look at the images that we were placing in there out of our PIM solution and make the best solution for them. And so as they're making their selections, they can kind of see what it is that they're buying. If they click on the info button, and we'll see this in a little bit, it will give them help so that they can understand what it is that they're buying, why they might want that versus some of the other solutions. So all of these are the images that we had way back in 2019 when we last spoke. And we had a few pain points since there. So, we buy a fair number of companies, and with each company came their own lead process, their own quote process, their own order process, warranty claims processes, order tracking processes. And in many cases, right, what's happening is they all had their own portals. So what we found is that customers were getting confused by the complexity. And so you'd have these portals and portals and portals. And at the end of it, customers just, they were confused. They really wanted a solution that is a little bit more Amazon-ish, where you place the order, you're getting it from one company. You really don't care how it's fulfilled. You're going to get one invoice. You're going to get one order. You're going to find how that was tracked. You really don't want to have to learn all of the different products and processes that are associated with these multiple companies that you see on the logos here. So our strategy was to really see what we could do to simplify that. And here's, you can see our end-to-end digital enablement slide. And what we're really trying to do is kind of simplify things for the customer. So you've got these channel partners and end users that are coming in here. Sometimes they're coming in as a lead. Sometimes they're distributors that are bringing the customers to us. A lot of these leads are going, most of our sales are done through the distributors, and we're sending them to our global site and then through our customer portal. And as we're doing that, we're logging everything inside of either Salesforce at which point in time we're moving it right into SAP and out for delivery so that we can have all these aftermarket services that you see in there. So this is our architecture slide. And what you can see here is that we've done a lot with different companies. Here you can see Configit and CoolShop. They're the CPQ engine that's interacting back and forth with our customer portal. But we're also going back and forth here with InRiver, our PIM, Cadenas Part Solutions, which is generating the drawings for us, as well as we do a little bit of business with 3D Content Central for some of our other products, and Salesforce and Pardot. But you can see right here, you know, between Configit and Cadenas Part Solutions and CoolShop, that's where the majority of what we're going to see today is. And some of the benefits our customers are seeing is that now with everything being consolidated, right, they're going to get a dashboard. It's going to show them all of the products that they have access to. It's going to show them the messages that we want to send them out. We have that using some of our marketing feeds that are coming right out of Pardot. They're going to have order and quote management. They'll be able to take a look at what is being offered there, but we're also able to send them leads. And we're doing that through something that we're doing as a lead-based or a role-based platform, where we can have a salesperson that only sees their own quotes, and then we can have an admin that not only sees everybody's quotes, but actually can distribute leads to the individual salespeople on their team. You'll see the entire product catalog. You'll see the case management, and by that we mean like the warranty claims and the returns. And then we also have marketing material and some business insights that are being provided as we go through and track all of this information. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo here that's going to showcase some of the products that we have, as well as some of the functionality. And in those things, we'll see both leads, some quotes, how our drawings are being done, and a little bit of how we would place an order and order tracking and the benefits that's providing both the company itself, Columbus McKinnon, as well as some of our channel partners. So I'll start out here. A typical demo, or excuse me, a typical dashboard is going to show my latest quotes. It's going to show the leads that are out there, as well as my purchase orders. Now, these are all a demo account here, so you'll see that I haven't done a lot of quotes here, but we'll do one in just a second. It gives us an opportunity to advertise those things where we want to draw attention to. So right up in here, if we've had an improvement in lead times, or if we've had a new product, this is where we would advertise that. But we also are doing this right out of our Optimizely solution, where our marketing team can pass messages back and forth to the customer. And as they go through and read those and come back, you'll notice that that red dot is gone, very similar to the way that YouTube operates, where maybe you have a video that you subscribe to, or a video channel that you subscribe to. And when you watch it, the red dot goes away. Same idea here. So a customer with one screen can see a whole lot of information all at one time. So let's start kind of right from the beginning of this end-to-end journey. Here's a vacation-bound lead. You can see that someone has filled in the necessary information. Maybe this came from a trade show that we had gone to. Maybe an end user had clicked on something inside of perhaps inside of our website, and it generated a lead. Right here, I can convert this into a quote. And as it's doing that, not only am I starting the quote here in our customer portal, it's also writing back to Salesforce just about in real time, so that all of this information from the lead all the way into an order is going to be tracked. So I'll do one of our simpler quotes that also kind of highlights one of our other features, which is this whole concept of a pre-configuration. So one of our more popular products is this Lodestar NH. And we also have other products that you can see in here. Actually, let's do the ShopStar. I apologize. And as you can see, it's bringing up all of the information for that. I'm going to add that right to our cart, and what that's going to do is load in the configuration straight into the product. And this is going to do two things for us. So not only is that product going to be there when we go through and take a look at our shopping cart, it's also going to provide us the opportunity to take a look at what that quote is, what that drawing is based on everything that we have. So if I show the CAD here, and we'll take a look at a couple examples, because Part Solutions has knocked it out of the park for us recently with some of the modeling that they've done and some of the new features they've added to that. It'll take about 5-10 seconds to generate, but pretty quickly you'll be able to see that it's providing both a download and the ability to create a CAD PDF data sheet. While that's generating, I'll pull up a couple different examples here. Maybe I will. There we go. So you can see some of the different things we're able to do here in our model. So in this particular model, after I hit it, it's actually creating not only that 3D model, it's also creating this. You can see the nice translucent shape they have around that. What they're actually doing is providing a hook envelope that's showing every pick point that we have on here, as well as what's going on with the festoon stack up. They're doing something very similar over here, where you're able to see all of the dimensions on the hoist and on the bridge itself. You're seeing the festoon. So you're really able in one quick drawing that you can spin around and take a look. You're able to see exactly what it is that you're going to get delivered to your factory. And then you come down here in the 3D renderings and you're able to go take a look at the different dimensions that are going to be provided on this particular hoist, and you're able to look at that. This is also available in something like 97 different formats. So if somebody wants it in SolidWorks, if somebody wants it in AutoCAD, if somebody wants it in, you name it, Inventor, it's all going to be there for the customer. So this is a really, really nice feature that we've been providing for our customers. And the more complex the product, the more we find that the customers want this. So I'm going to take this out of here. And you'll notice that in this particular case, it's providing all of the information you would need. You've got a list price, you got a discount, you got a net price, and we'd be able to go through here and actually place that order. So kind of following the process, you're going to see that the customer, after I put in the PO number, the customer is able to very quickly, in a few clicks, go from a lead to a quote, everything going through Salesforce, to actually providing this right on through to the order. And in a great many number of cases that we have, these orders are going straight to our factory floor. If the pricing matches, if the lead time matches, if the part number matches, it's going to the factory floor without any kind of human intervention at all. And with that, I'm the proud owner of a ShopStar. And I'm able to go back in there and take a look. You can see my quote is now in ordered status. And had this been connected to our ERP instead of our test account, within 10 minutes, that quote would now be showing over here as an order. So very quickly, you can see the benefit to both the customer and to Columbus McKinnon, because going for this end-to-end process, I was able to do that in about 5 minutes. Now, obviously, in many cases, a lead isn't actually turning into an order in 5 minutes, but that quote turning into an order that quickly is a big benefit, because no more queuing up for somebody to actually process that order. No queue time for somebody to take a look at that order acknowledgement. All of this is going straight into the factory. And for us, it's a labor savings. And for us, it's actually an accuracy savings, because you can imagine with the number of characteristics on some of these hoists and cranes, some of them actually have as many as 30 characteristics if you wanted something special. And what would happen is the opportunity for somebody to fat finger a 45 and turn it into a 54, it's just tremendous. So having somebody take a look at that drawing first, and then actually having it go straight into your ERP system, it's just an incredible savings for us from an accuracy standpoint as well. But what we found was, even after that, our customers wanted more. So if you were to take a look into these, you can see that we have a different quote number. You can see that some of these actually have warranty claims on them. These are obviously test accounts, so I will show you that process. But someone could start a claim right inside of here, answer just a few questions, and with that, regardless if they were Magnatech or they were Columbus McKinnon or if they were Duff Norton or any one of our companies there, unified, what would end up happening is they would have one process that they would need to fill out, and everything would be sorted right here. And they'd be able to come into all of their orders. So I'll do that order tracking here and say, just show me the ones that have a claim on it. And again, I've seeded quite a few in here so that you have an idea, but being able to go through with 1 or 2 clicks and find everything that you need for all of the issues that you may or may not have had, that is a tremendous savings for them and for us. And they're not having to learn 5 or 6 different processes for the 5 or 6 different brands that are being represented here by the customer portal. In addition, you may have noticed that these each were shipped. I'm going to go to our live database for just a second and go to my orders, just so you have an idea of what you might see here. So in this particular case, I've got 1 out of 1 radios that were shipped out on September 1st. And then line item 2 had the same. Customers, like I mentioned before, they could start a claim here. Perhaps they received the wrong quantity, or perhaps it went to the wrong address. Or they could go right into here into the freight tracking and actually take a look at their tracking number. And so you see that here the carrier was FedEx, or sometimes it's UPS or USPS. It's a real benefit for the customer to be able to go all of this in one place, take a look at what it is that they've got going on, and look at all of the orders that they have in one place. You can sort of see how this particular customer is arranging things by a customer number. Now, I am an admin right now, but you could see without a lot of imagination, if I type in JRJ here, only those that have the initials JRJ are going to show up, and so that particular individual is going to be able to find each of his orders, his or her orders, and take a look at those so that he can keep track of that, or she can keep track of that. So a real benefit there, and in each case they can just slip down here, go to the open detail page, really get a feel for what it is that they're doing, how it is that that order is progressing, has it shipped yet. And we're actually going to be adding a status button on here to make it even simpler, so that they can go on the status. So whether it's an open order, a partial order, or perhaps a completed order, a shipped order. We've gone through here and we've also added some additional tools. So both of these are tied into our products. I'm a lot better at model numbers than I am at the serial number lookup, but it's the same program. It's just looking at something different. So if I were to type in a model number, it is actually going to go through here and bring up the bill of material. And this is one of the bigger changes we've made in the last 4 years, is we've really focused on both the configured items that are important, but we've also focused on the non-configured items. And those non-configured items have had a huge benefit for Columbus McKinnon and our distributors. So non-configured might be those spare parts. And while spare parts, represent, most of them are smaller dollar amounts than our waste and crane systems, what we find is that there are tons and tons of these orders. And when somebody places a spare parts order, it's usually not, I want one part for $1.50. They're restocking their shelves at the end of the month, or perhaps they're wanting to take one of these products and say get all of the gears replaced. So they'll type in gear and they'll go through here and click away until they have each of these in their shopping cart. So you can imagine that a crane and a hoist order, there's maybe 3-4 line items that are associated with that on average. A good spare parts order might be 4 or 5 times that. So one of the features that we built into this that I'll show you is called the bulk upload tool. A bulk upload tool essentially, and I'll pull it up here in Excel for us, it allows the customer to keep track of all of their part numbers that they're stocking and then just fill in a quantity. So I'm going to pull up the bulk upload here. This is the template that you would order. You'll notice I seeded a mistake in there. I called it oops. We don't have a part number called oops. And then here's 3 part numbers and 3 quantities. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I'm only putting those 4 part numbers in here, but you can imagine that a customer that was doing this may have 40, 45, as many as we've had somebody actually put in 90 of these. And when they do, they'd come over here to choose a file. And they would simply upload it. And this, again, is something that it's going to find that first one. It's going to notify you, okay, we don't have a part number called oops. And it's going to start populating the remainder of those parts right inside of the quote. And you can imagine this might take 5-10 seconds here, but you can imagine how long it would take if you were trying to do 99 different parts and having to load those individually. What this does is provide a value to the customer, because very, very quickly, we just generated that quote for them, showcasing all of the products, giving them an idea of what that product is going to be, giving them the image for it and the price and the lead time. So using the process that we shared earlier, you would go straight over in 4 clicks and be able to turn this into an order. And again, that order, depending on if the price and the lead time match up with everything that's on file, that could go straight out to the factory floor, just reducing all that queue time. So we're going to go back and show the final 2 things. I mentioned already on the dashboard that we have a nice marketing communication piece here. The other thing that we added was a resource library. You can imagine that after a bit, when you add this much functionality into here, it is sometimes important to be able to train new users on this. So we've got the training webinars here. These are short 2-3 minute videos that we put together that kind of demonstrate each of the features and functionalities here, like that bulk upload that I just got done doing, like the finished code lookup that I just showed you that gave you that bill of material. In addition, we have some other pieces of information that marketing can put out there, whether it's blogs or case studies or upcoming events. But we also have this ability to go through and tie all of our information, whether it's dimensional drawings or wiring diagrams or brochures, right into our library, tied into our in-river PIM system. And so very quickly, I was to just start typing in here, if I can type, Impulse, you're going to see that right here, I've got my 4 Impulse brochures that are available to me. It's already sorted on that. And had I wanted to, I could go through even quicker than that. You'll notice that it's already defaulted to English for me, but we do have the capability, and we are using the capability for us to be able to go through and actually provide multi-language support here. We're going to be launching some of this stuff in Germany here in the next month. And what's great is that it's going to be able to provide multi-currency, multi-language. It's really going to be a multi-product, multi-sales org. It's going to be a huge benefit for us as we go through and move toward that. Customer is going to be able to come right in here, download whatever brochure they need, or if they couldn't find it here, they could take a look up in this super search. Super search works in kind of the same fashion. If I type in 3525, it's going to try and find every product, every brochure, every part number, every order that might actually have 3525 in it. So you'll see here, it actually found the right part. It also found the associated new hoist part number. I've got a couple templates named that. So these templates enable us to be able to go through and actually find a pre-configured version of that. So this is a super powerful tool that's been generated here where the customers are able to very quickly find their product. Perhaps they didn't know exactly what hierarchy I've stored things in. And instead of saying, it's in power hoist and it's a Lodestar, and then I have to click on the non-configured unit there, they just type the 3525 right in there and away they go. So I covered all of that, the marketing notes, the warranty claims, some of the order tracking, both the pre-configured and non-configured. Let's talk a little bit about the learnings. So some of the do's and don'ts that we've learned along the journey here. For starters, non-configured items. Right away, I kind of mentioned that it takes a lot of hook sales to make the revenue of one hoist, and that is the point, right? That there is a whole lot of quoting and a whole lot of ordering, and we do see a lot of quoting and ordering on hooks and on latches. And each one of these hooks and latches, regardless if they're $10 or $2,000, if they're one line item, that one line item is the same amount of time to enter into the system. So if we're able to automate that, that's a huge savings for us, especially when people are ordering as many latches and hooks as they do. Another learning that we really learned here is that if you can be agile, it's helpful. Some of the things that we did, we kind of combined all at once, and some of the items that we combined, or some of the items that we could have released earlier, I think we could have had a bigger benefit for. And I think to some extent this is necessary, but boy, if you can do this in an agile fashion, your customers can start to see your vision earlier and start providing that feedback earlier. And that's sort of the next point as well. Is another thing is get that voice of customer data constantly. Do it while you're in the implementation, do it before the implementation, get your ideas, do it after the implementation to see where your hits were so that you can repeat them, and where your misses were so that you can correct them. I've got the line that I use over and over again where, look, my ears are a lot bigger than my brain. And the reality is every idea that we've had comes from the customer. And there have been some stinkers out there that I've generated that I thought, wow, this is going to get a ton of use. And then I went out on the road and started talking to customers and just adding a text underneath one of our buttons so that it was easier for people to know what the icon was when they pressed it. Was something that got rave reviews, whereas things like templates that I thought were things customers would use over and over again have not had as much use as we would like. So I can't stress enough how important that voice of customer gathering is. And I think the other thing is make sure you're looking at both your internal and your external customers. We do focus a lot externally on our channel partners, our distributors, However, some of the savings that we're finding right now, particularly with the non-configured items, are those that are going into our internal customer service and order entry teams, and hearing what issues they have from a configured and a non-configured standpoint has been eye-opening, and it's caused us to change the way we do things. Some of the don'ts that I would put out there, I regret a little bit having a resource library. I take a look at our resource library, and a lot of that information is duplicated on the corporate website. And so now there's this effort where you have to make sure it's in both locations. And while it's just a button to click, it's something I do regret. We used to have printed price pages, and some of those PDFs got uploaded onto here. Again, I think that's unfortunate. That's something I would not do again if we had to do this again. In terms of testing, I would not short any of the testing time. There's going to be things that take much, much longer than you think they will, and other things, will not. But have yourself a very thorough testing plan and give yourself some time for things to go wrong. I famously said on one piece of this, whatever you do, it can't be worse than what we did before. I was wrong. We had to fix it, but I was wrong, and that was a dumb statement on my part to put out there. And I think that sometimes it's super important to be able to go through and really test all the assumptions and make sure that your test plan actually encompasses the 99%, not the 1%. Again, don't be afraid to reach out to your partner vendors for help. I think we're very fortunate in the vendors that we deal with. It doesn't matter whether it's Configit or CoolShop or Part Solutions. We're generally able to give a call and work through problems and projects as we go through. And I think that's super important. But I think, you can't get help if you don't ask for help. And I think that's one of the things that I would learn is don't be afraid to reach out when something just doesn't seem like it should be the way that it is. And then finally, don't underestimate the effort required, because these are really big projects. And if you don't test it, if you're on a deadline, gun to the head kind of deadline where it's 3 months and you think you're going to get it done in 3 months and it's longer than that, you're going to put something out there that you're not proud of or that your customers are not going to like. And, I think it was the head and shoulders. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think to some extent, there's a lot of truth to that with some of these tools, because there are going to be doubters to begin with. And if you give them reason to doubt, they will grab onto that. And I think it's really important to have a good product that works the first time when you put it out there. And I think it's important too, when you're going to testing, that it's not going to work smoothly the first time. So make sure that if it doesn't, it's in a testing environment, not in a live environment. So with that, I will turn it over for some questions.
Thank you so much, John, for sharing the insights and the journey of CMCO. Very, very diverse presentation of arguments and details. So it seems the journey kept you quite busy for the last couple of years. So yeah, let's move on to some questions. So I can see the first questions came in during your presentation. So let's start here. So yeah, actually, how many years did it take you from the first thoughts until the implementation where you are right now?
So the concept itself, if you went from, hey, we started thinking about this to the final implementation, it was close to 2 years. I think actual working time was somewhere between 15 and 18 months. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, and then maybe connect to that question. So which function is which business function, it says, is the owner of the portal?
That's a good question. So we've divided up some of the responsibilities here. So the resource library and that front page that you see, that dashboard, That is really the marketing team that it does that, and then a lot of the other stuff where it's lead times and pricing, we take a little bit more direct ownership of that, but a lot of that is automated, and the stuff that's automated is kind of my favorite because we're just reading from database at that point in time. So pricing now is almost completely automated outside of a few non-configured, outside of a couple of configured items. And even those configured items, we're working on a project that's automating that and reducing the amount of workload there by probably 70%.
So in summary, this is there's a multiple ownership of the portal, and
yeah.
So yeah. Maybe also related to this, this question says you are talking about one streamlined process and only one way of how to do certain things. So what were the essential organizational steps to get such an overarching project going, and what were the major process challenges?
So what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to hide the fact that we still have multiple processes. We are providing one process input, but we are actually feeding 3 different ERP systems. So we are truly trying to create a better experience for the customer. But I will say that we've worked hand in hand with our customer experience team, our channel services team, our customer service team, to be able to take a look at as many policies as we can, so that there's like a minimum freight policy and a returns policy, and you know, as many of those type of things are as consistent across the company lines. Not just for, I mean, yes, selfishly, it does make it easier for us to program some of that stuff, but also for our customers, it's very confusing if you were to say, well, it's $200 freight minimum for Magnatech, it's $250 if you're buying hoisted rigging products, you know, unless it's a Wednesday and you have a Chester product. I mean, it gets to be a little bit much, and I think that the customer service team, the channel services team that we have, done a great job in really simplifying that and and try to consolidate that as much as humanly possible with as many different policies as we had at the time.
I couldn't agree more. That is can be very critical to get hold of all these different stakeholders and requests, right? Yeah, so I hope the answer was sufficient for the person who asked it. You can still ask questions in the control panel. We will also, if we don't have enough time for every question, we will respond to them in the after the webinar. So here's another question, a bit more technical. It says, is there a technical check on customer configuration in order to avoid mistakes of wrong configuration?
Yes, so the way that we program this in SAP with a lot of the KMATs, the logic is built in as you go. So what I always say is that you might not order what you wanted, but you can at least order something that can be built. And what we've tried to do with PIM and other things is we've really gotten it so that customers are actually ordering what they wanted. And some of those images that I showed, some of those help functions that I showed, have limited the number of times somebody, you know, wanted something and couldn't find a way to configure that. But you know, we've got it so that we've got engineering checks. We're never going to build a bridge that can't support the weight that we're out there. We're never going to give you end trucks that are going to bind. Doing all kinds of engineering checks in here to make sure that that doesn't happen.
All right. Thanks for the answer. So I jump to another question here, looking at the time as well. So it says, where exactly do you model the knowledge base of your products? Is it SAP, Configit, and CoolShop? In brackets, CoolShop was originally supposed to be the only visual lay, wasn't it? Or is it everything modeled in the Configit modeling application?
So the products themselves, we start in SAP, we go through Configit quote, and then on top of that is the CoolShop architecture. And that cool shop architecture is really what helps to give that appearance, and honestly, it's a smooth, consistent look for the customer that it just rounds it out and provides additional help. You know, we just found that some of the products were complex enough that if we didn't have something that simplified the product, that customers might make mistakes. And it goes back to what you were talking about before: is how do you model that and keep it so that the customers have that, you know, they don't order something that they don't want.
That makes sense. Thank you for that answer as well. So there's another question that's referring to another business part of CMCO, I believe. So it says, do you also use CPQ for your conveyor technology? And then this person gives an explanation to the conveyor technology area and saying, large halls have to be implemented with a conveyor technology solution, which sometimes involves 10,000 products upwards, and these products all have to be configured.
Yeah. So currently, this technology is not moving over to our conveyance technology yet. We have our hands full just getting the products that we have on there to Europe and to the rest of the world. We certainly have a roadmap, but that's parts that I can't share right now. But the things that we're really focusing on now, particularly since the conveyance is some of our newer acquisitions, is trying to get the remainder of the product line that we had at the time around the world, so that we can make sure that all of the configured spare parts that are ordered in any kind of volume are available for our customers.
That makes sense. Thanks. It's also completely understandable that you cannot talk about sort of unlaid eggs or future roadmap and stuff. So everybody would understand that. So yeah, it leads me actually to the last question I have here on the list. And this might also be a good question to summarize the webinar. So it says, what were the key results? I assume it relates to the journey as such.
Yeah. So what we found since going to the customer portal is that our adoption rate has gone up significantly. Our orders, our electronic orders, have tripled since we started this. Some of that is the spare parts being added. Some of it is the ease of use. Some of it is just being able to go through and find your order that much faster. But again, that is a significant savings, the tripling of the orders. And I think that the line items have gone up 5x. Don't quote me on that one, but the orders for sure have gone up 3x, and the line items have gone up even more than that. So the amount of savings that we're seeing, and the amount of time savings that our customer is seeing, and you know, as lead times are challenging right now from different people, you can imagine how every day that you're able to save from an order processing standpoint is just one more day that you just lessened off of their lead time.
Thanks. Yeah, these are indeed some significant efficiency benefits that you just pointed out. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately what we could cover today. So I want to take the opportunity to thank you, John, and all of you online for joining us today. And as said before, if you have asked a question or still would like to ask a question, please do so in the control panel. We will collect all these and answer these questions, responding to you following this webinar. For now, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.